My name is Lindsay Marie Miller, and I'm the author of Emerald Green and Me and Mr. Jones and Jungle Eyes. I'm originally from Tallahassee, Florida. I still live in Tallahassee, Florida. And I went to college locally at FSU. I majored in English and studied a lot of literature, got to learn about a lot of really cool writers of fiction and short stories. I also minored in psychology because I was interested in learning why people behave the way they do in certain situations, or why they respond to certain things, and I thought it would be really beneficial to my writing. Some of my hobbies, apart from novel writing of course, I'm really interested in music. When I was a little kid, I started taking piano lessons, and then I got a guitar for Christmas when I was 12 and started writing songs up until this point. I don't get to do that as much now as I would like, but when I was in college, I took a pop music course where we got to learn about Michael Jackson and the history of rock and roll and like all this really cool stuff about music. And you could perform at the end of the course if you wanted to, so I did that and ended up taking voice lessons for about a year and started singing. So music and writing are something that I see as being very closely knit, because whether it's a song or a novel, they both have to do with storytelling, so very important to me. When I was in middle school, I had this crazy obsessive crush on Johnny Depp. I had the movie posters and the t-shirts and the backpacks and the pencils and everything you can think of pretty much. And it's not that I don't love Johnny anymore, because I do. It's just that it's matured into an admiration for the actor. So when I first started writing fiction seriously, I was 16, I was a junior in high school, and everyone was reading the Twilight series. It's like I could look around and all I saw, everyone had this black book with this red apple on it. So I read the Twilight series and I fell in love with it, and I fell in love with reading fiction again because it was something that I hadn't done in so long, and it kind of gotten away from me. So I went and saw the movie at the theater a few times and then reread Twilight. And then I thought to myself, I want to do this. I can do this. I want to write a young adult novel. I want to write some kind of romance novel. So I remembered this short story that I'd written in an earlier English class in middle school, I think. And it was about this new student on campus. And that ended up being the scene in Emerald Green when Tom and Addie meet for the first time in the classroom. And pretty much everything built around that one short story. So I wrote that novel when I was 16 and then rewrote it after I graduated from college. And the first time around, Emerald Green ended up being about 50,000 words, but then with the rewrite, I expanded it to a little over 80,000. And I think when I was 16, I didn't have the experience yet and the skill set to know how to really write the story in the right way, or the way that the characters deserved their story to be told. So I think after going to college and taking all these classes and learning about all these other authors and the way that they wrote, it really allowed me to write the novel that it should have been in the first place. And I think the first time around, there were characters like Nikki and Ricky and Janine that weren't even in the novel, which if you've read Emerald Green, I'm sure you're thinking, how was that ever the case? Because they're so crucial to what ends up happening in the story. So in the end, I was really happy to rewrite Emerald Green because it ended up becoming the story that it should have been all along, and the story that my characters deserved to have told. A typical writing session for me doesn't really have to do with where I am or what time of day it is. It can be day or night. I can be indoors or outdoors. When I was in college, if I had a gap between classes, sometimes I'd just go sit on a bench and pull out my notebook and keep writing from wherever I'd left off. But I do write a lot late at night, sometimes between probably like 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. when everyone else is asleep. And sometimes I write listening to music. It's not something that I have to do, but I don't mind it. I know when I wrote Me and Mr. Jones, I wrote a lot of that one late at night, and I listened to nothing but Ed Sheeran on repeat the whole time. And every time I hear a song of his or hear him on the radio, I think of all those nights I was up late writing about Billy and Cable for Me and Mr. Jones, and Ed Sheeran was there to serenade me and get me through the night. The types of genres that I usually read, really anything romance. It can be young adult, it can be new adult, which I have really gotten into recently, or it can be something like a Nicholas Sparks novel. Really, as long as it's a love story, I'm interested. That's what I love to read. Right now I'm reading a novel called Ethereal by Addison Moore. It's a young adult paranormal romance. And I haven't really read paranormal in a long time, which is surprising because Twilight is what got me back into reading in the first place. But it's good to get back to reading something from that genre. The writing projects that I have coming up are the rest of the Emerald Green series, so there's going to be 3 more books in that series. There is a sequel to Me and Mr. Jones that I'm working on, and then there's going to be 2 more books in the Jungle Eyes trilogy. And then I've also been working on a standalone novel. It's a new adult contemporary romance, so it doesn't have the thriller and suspense elements that all my other books have had. It's kind of got more of a comedy vibe to it, but it's mainly focused on the relationship between the characters and the love story. The advice I would give to writers out there is to just never stop writing. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it, and you'd be surprised in time how well your style will develop and your voice and your tone, and you'll be able to connect to your characters better and hear them better. And I think your confidence also improves. So I would just say keep writing and keep pursuing your passion, and let it continue to be something that you really appreciate and enjoy doing. Books or movies? I'm going to go with books. Dogs or cats? Cats, but I'm probably biased because of Jade in Jungle Eyes, because she's the best cat ever, like the best big cat ever. Summer or winter? I'm going to go summer. Cake or ice cream? Cake. Car or motorcycle? I don't think I've ever actually been on a motorcycle before, so I'm going to go with car. Ebook or physical book? Ebook. Nights out or nights in? Nights in. Living in the city or living in the country? I'm going to go with living in the country because that's always kind of been a dream of mine, to live in some kind of cabin out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the woods, where it's just quiet and peaceful, like Johnny Depp in Secret Window. Now you see the Johnny Depp obsession. Having telepathy or having telekinesis? I'm going to go with telepathy because I want to be like Danny in The Shining, because he's awesome, and I want to ride that cool bike that he rides around the hotel. Being able to travel to the past or being able to travel to the future? I would say travel to the past. I think it'd be really cool to go back to like 1953 and bump into James Dean on the side of the road. So definitely traveling to the past. Making a phone call or sending a text. Making a phone call. I like to hear the person's voice on the other side of the line. That way I really know it's them. Traveling by car, traveling by plane, by car. Staying in a hotel or going camping. I've never been camping, but I've always had this idea of what it would be like, and it would be so much fun and adventurous, and we're gonna rough it, but I don't know that I would actually like it if I ever did it, so I'm gonna go with staying in a hotel. Working in a group or working alone, Losing all of your money or losing every picture you've ever taken and every picture that has ever been taken of you. I'm not the most photogenic, but there are pictures I have taken of other people over the years that I would never want to lose, so I'm going to say losing all of my money. To find true love or to win the lottery? Absolutely to find true love. I think if you're any kind of writer of love stories or you're romantic at all, that's the whole point of it, is to keep this hope alive of finding that one person and of finding true love. So definitely finding true love. Being Spider-Man for a day or being Batman for a day? Batman is actually my favorite superhero, especially when he's played by Christian Bale. But I think I would want to be Superwoman for a day. And not just the superhero, but also Lily Singh, the YouTuber Superwoman, because she's awesome. So, definitely Superwoman. Thank you and happy holidays!